Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Aeons. Welcome to Strange Aeons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Good afternoon.
I'm Kelly. Hey guys, we had a listener send us a nice little message, and I think that you know him, Vanessa.
I do.
It was Micah Guy.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's a horror film aficionado, a big fan of our show as well.
Clearly has amazing taste.
Yeah,
And
thank
just,
you.
Yeah, all around super great guy.
I should hold off on saying the amazing taste because he asked us to watch a movie, and I watched it.
Vast taste. Yeah. So what was his recommendation? I didn't watch it, so.
Well, this is my kind of movie, so I feel like this is why it was suggested. He asked us to watch The Killing of Satan, which is available only on YouTube. Can't figure out quite why this hasn't gotten a Criterion release yet.
Interesting choice. I could think of another group or two that might put a movie like this out, but Criterion would not be my first choice.
This movie is fucking bonkers.
Really?
It's from the Philippines, early 80s. I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting into at first, but as soon as the head, there's a lot of possessions going on in here and exorcisms, and one of the guy's head does a 360, exorcist style, only starts spinning. Just round and round and round and round like a top, So I was like, "Oh, okay, where's this gonna go?"
Does this film have a lot of snakes in it?
There's a lot of snakes and a lot of everything in it. There is a ridiculously large boulder that is chasing this guy down a path and then squishes him.
Uh-huh.
I mean, like a pancake. We see him afterwards. There's a lot of wizardry going on.
Uh-huh.
The devil makes an appearance, played by two different actors, and as I think they were both supposed to be the devil. I'm not sure why they were played by two different actors.
Sure.
He is wearing, I guess the best I can describe it is like a Halloween costume of the devil. The red suit with the cape and the pitchfork.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my god.
And the headpiece that kind of goes around with the horn sticking up. And I was like, oh, well, that's the devil, clearly.
We're here. You know what? I have seen this movie. Micah did have me watch it. I was very drunk. I remember just feeling extremely bad for the snakes.
I was kind of like, what is the audience for this movie? It's almost childlike in his portrayal of good and evil.
Okay.
But then there were all these other things going on that I was like, well, they're taking themselves very seriously with the Catholic iconography.
There you go.
There's a word that I can't say. And stuff like that. And I was like, somebody knows an awful lot about religion and put it into
not
this
filmmaking.
Well, I don't know. It's whenever you get these movies from a different culture, you kind of gotta step back and go, okay, how do they look at this? But if I said what I thought about this movie based on the culture, it would sound very insulting, I'm sure, to the Filipinos.
Probably. I mean, it reminds me a lot of those movie posters that you see for like Rambo or but with somebody from like a country far away that perhaps does not have as many access points as we do to television and to movie theaters, and it's like a guesstimate poster of what like Stallone looks like and what it should be, what they think the movie is, and there's like a whole huge range of these posters, and they are amazing. Yes. Yeah. So Google this if you get a chance to. Just put in
kind of like
strange movie posters, or I don't know.
Kind of like Bruno Mattei kind of stuff, or
yeah, it felt not quite as accomplished as Bruno.
Okay.
But I did feel like the only way someone would recommend this movie to somebody is if they had heard them say over and over, I love really bad movies.
Yes.
So clearly he's a listener, and I really appreciate that.
Well,
Thank you, Micah.
I'll have to be checking that one out too then.
Yeah. In other news, though, I watched, a bunch of movies. I was snowed in, and I saw something called Saint Maude.
Oh my God. I've been wanting to see this for months.
Me too.
It is the feel-bad movie of the year.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is very well made, very dark. This is a movie, Eric, that every once in a while could have used a laugh.
Okay. Yeah, one of those.
I do remember saying to Eric, if I didn't know any better, I'd think this was an A24 movie. And he responded with, it is an A24 movie.
Sure, yeah.
Just like, shit, I somehow missed that logo at the beginning. I will say that it's very slow, and there were a lot of times that I was about ready to check out, and then it pulled me back in. And the final act is disturbing, really disturbing. So
You have to check this one out.
yeah, available only as a rental right now.
Well, it came out last year in the UK, and one of my favorite film reviewers, it was like his film of the year. And so I've known about it for a while and really wanted to see it. So I'm not surprised that it's got some kind of weird distribution issue as far as like seeing it at home.
Yeah, when we were doing the 2020 rundown, I looked for a long time for saying, okay, is here? No, nope. Alrighty.
Yeah, same. No,
It's a
same.
2021 movie now.
It's interesting that you were looking forward to it so much, because when I was doing some research and it became available, it was just post after post of, I have been waiting for this movie for a year to come out and all this. And I was thinking to myself, I'd never even heard of this.
Yeah.
And so watching it also, I was expecting something quite different than what I got, but I'm not saying that I was disappointed at all.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I only know of the trailer and a sense generally of perhaps the tone of it. So I'm really excited to see like what it ends up being. As you said, we're snowed in. So my choices in what I was watching definitely diverged away from the norm. So, I'll throw two together because I'm not going to bother talking about either one. I watched Framing Britney and also To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Always and Forever. So
I don't know
either of these?
The Britney one I'm familiar with because it's popped up on
That's a documentary?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a documentary where unfortunately the premise is the whole thing. So like you never learn anything beyond the first 5 minutes. Like it's kind of just reiterates information you already know.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you know, its heart is in the right place. They never once actually managed to talk to Britney Spears. So that kind of sucks. But they're trying to represent her as best they can. So I don't know. And then To All the Boys, it's the third of the To All the Boys franchise for Netflix, based off of some fun girl tween books series, and very sweet, good wrap up of the three films.
Hey, Vanessa, do you know what we talk about on this podcast?
I know, but look, there was snow. And I've been having a lot of rabies shots, and I don't have as much time. So,
all right.
Yeah. Speaking of like that one film you recommended, the Slender Man poster.
Oh, The Empty Man.
I keep almost starting to watch it. Oh, fuck, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, I got to come back
It's a
and watch
long
it later.
movie. It is kind of, nothing pisses me off more than a horror film that's over 88 minutes.
Yeah. Come on. But speaking of the other side of the coin, somebody sent me a short film they wanted me to check out. That was proof of concept, I think, for a TV series that's in the works. And the short's called In a Foreign Town, about 11 minutes long. Damn, is good.
really?
Really well acted, really well shot, creepy as hell. Featured David Snell from The Shield. He was the cop who wasn't featured very much, got his face burned.
Yeah, okay.
And he's great in it. He's gone on to be in like tons and tons of stuff. But I'm hoping that whatever this, let's see if I can get some more info on it from the people about if this is something that's in production or it's going to be coming out. Because if this is an example, it definitely will be better than the Creepshow series.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So hopefully that's actually...
So
trying to get done.
the proof of concept for a show that's going to be anthology style, is that what you're
Yeah, I
saying?
think because it's the 11 minutes is a encapsulated story. It's
Oh,
got a
okay.
full.
Damn,
Right
that
there.
sounds exciting.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll happen. And I'll do another quick one, kind of like you did, because I'm not going to talk about it because what you said nailed exactly this documentary. VHS Nasty. Have you seen this one pop up? It's another documentary about the censorship board in the 80s in the UK. And now how you said in the first 5 minutes on Britney, you're done. This unfortunately was one of those kind of things.
That's such a bummer.
Where the entire movie was, after they explained what it was, then they had another guy come on and explain what it was. Then they had another guy kind of come on. And so, and then it became, well, I don't know if you should censor things. And well, I don't know if you should censor things. Well, maybe you should censor. And it's like, so I fast forwarded like 20 minutes. Same kind of thing. Fast forward another 20 minutes. Same kind of things. All right. If you have never heard of the Video Nasties, this is actually a pretty good breakdown of what it was. But if you've seen anything about it, this will just tell you what you've already learned. It was a little disappointing because there's some neat people involved and it was well done. It was just like, more content, guys. There's so much in that story.
Oof.
And it's called VHS Nasty or Video Nasty?
VHS Nasty.
Interesting. Okay. I watched Willy's Wonderland.
Oh my
Nicolas
God.
Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
How was it?
It was okay.
Oh.
Not quite Mandy.
Oh, it was nowhere near Mandy. It was fun.
Yeah.
It is, an hour and a half of Nicolas Cage battling demonic animatronic toys at a Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
He's because of movie, he ends up having to stay at this place and clean up this old Chuck E. Cheese style place, and then finds out that this is what the town does to appease the demonic forces that live within
Oh my
it.
God.
His performance notable in the fact that not one line of dialogue.
That's what I'd heard.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And his character is not at all bothered by the fact that these things are happening. He continues to mop and clean up, and every time one of these attacks him, he kills it and then mops and cleans up.
Oh my God.
So it's a very strange movie, but I have to say I was entertained. I didn't touch the phone once during this film.
Always a good sign. I saw a great little YouTube thing on something like that. It's like, one of the hardest questions about entertainment is Nicolas Cage a great actor or a terrible actor? Like
The
I tell
answer
you,
is yes.
yes, exactly.
yeah.
That is the
Nicolas
only
Cage
conclusion.
is Nicolas Cage. Like, you don't need to know anything beyond that.
But if you go way back to like what the Moonstruck
yeah.
and things like that,
Peggy
he's
Sue Got Married.
he's very straightforward actor in that. I think he was Oscar nominated for that one.
Man.
So he has
When did he start to go crazy? It was before Snake Eyes.
Well, it might have been Snake. His Drive Angry's after that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's so much he went crazy. He just said, screw it. I'm just going to
be big.
He called it kabuki style theater acting. He wanted to bring that to the masses.
Oh my
and
God.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's a treasure.
If nothing else, I do think he's an artist.
Yeah.
I think he's doing it for the art.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't do all those low budget, weird films. He never would have been in Mandy or what was the other one? Like Joe something or another. If there's an indie filmmaker who approaches him, a lot of times he'll say yes.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to try new stuff and he wants to support people, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and he's played around in the genre for enough time that I think that he realizes, you know what? The people who absolutely appreciate whatever I'm doing are the horror fans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Mom and Dad, Mandy, Colorado Space.
Yeah.
And then this, in a row is kind of telling.
Yeah, very true.
Absolutely. Well, I've been diving deeper into my trying to figure out Moon Knight situation.
Nice.
So I've read the Jeff Lemire run, which is pretty recent, and that's the one where he's insane.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm just about to start the Warren Ellis run where he is also insane. So, and then at some point, I'm probably going to go to the ones where he is actually like a hero of some kind.
Now, who's the Jeff
Lemire.
Is that the
Lemire?
real recent one?
Is that the one where he's in a suit?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
I think both. Let's see. Well, in the Jeff Lemire one, he's 3 people. I'm trying to think if one of them's in a suit. He's in a straitjacket. I think you're thinking of the Warren Ellis one in
Okay.
a suit. Yeah, I think the Warren Ellis one. Oh God, I'm not sure which one's older between the two. Probably Warren Ellis is older.
I read that run and I was bitterly disappointed.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
bummer.
Because I think Warren Ellis, has interesting takes on
Yeah.
comic book characters, but this one I was kind of like, So
yeah.
I'm very curious to see what you think of these, and
yeah.
all the speculation leading up to the series is like, what is it going to be?
I know. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's because, as you pointed out, like it just has so many options of directions. And are they going to play him as the Batman, or are they going to play him as the crazy dude?
And WandaVision has shown that they are not afraid to take some chances in what they're going to
yeah.
So
That
that's
was
cool.
the other thing that I saw too, was WandaVision.
do. Yeah.
WandaVision's getting cool.
Yeah, it's really damn good. It's a good sign you get up like Friday morning. Oh, there's new WandaVision. It came
Right.
out last night. I gotta go see that. Speaking of excited to see again, joining the Disney lineup, the original Muppet Show.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Finally.
All 5 seasons of the original run. Apparently, some of them may be have some stuff cut out of it. I haven't been able to verify that. But a few years ago, there was actually a very well done, short-lived Muppet show that came out where it put them
I
like in a
remember hearing
newsroom.
about it. Yeah.
And they took a lot of slack from morons who I don't know if they ever actually watched the original series and maybe just watched the Muppet Babies.
Mm.
They were talking about, well, this has a lot of adult-style humor. Like, well, their minds are going to be goddamn blown. I went back, like, okay, watch the first one. And there's dancing in a bar with Muppets sitting at a table with a bunch of shots around them. Muppets take shots.
Wow.
Rita Morano is the first guest, and she's dancing around, throwing this Muppet to the wall very violently and shoving him all over the place. And there's a cigarette smoking warning at the beginning of the episode, and just all kinds of little violence things and all this stuff going, yeah, that's what I seem to remember. Muppets wasn't a kid's show per se,
Yeah.
but it had plenty of elements kids loved, obviously.
I remember watching that with my dad every Sunday night, and he would chuckle along with me. Most of the time, that's stuff I didn't understand.
It was at its height. I was reading a little bit after watching it. It was on in 100 countries.
Oh my God.
One of the most watched shows in the entire world for its run. And the only reason it stopped being shown is Jim Henson said, I'm going to do the Dark Crystal. I'm going to do this thing that's going to totally take up my time. So we're not doing the Muppet Show anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that's what finally canceled it. Wow.
Wow.
He canceled it.
Yeah. And there's a little singing duet of 3 kind of real looking Muppets. That one is very obviously Jim Henson.
Mhm.
And it's like, God, I think one's Frank Oz, but I have no idea who the other guy was. But it's like, and it's, Jim Henson's Kermit voice wasn't too far off of his original voice. So it sort of sounded like Kermit singing
Right.
as well. But Rolf the dog, Miss Piggy starts out a little weird, but it was like, okay, this still works.
Yeah.
Still entertaining. Definitely going back and watching a bunch more of those episodes.
I've always wanted to see them because, like, as a kid, I loved Muppet stuff,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed the Muppet films, but had not really been. I was just a little too young to get
Well,
to
it started
watch.
in 77.
Yeah. I
a
wasn't
little too
I
non-existent.
wasn't
weren't you?
existing quite yet. And, in the 80s, it's not like you could watch like older TV necessarily unless it was in syndication. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to watch older shows at times and go, oh, yeah, this was on the air. And if you didn't see it,
You didn't
you
see it.
probably were never at the time, you thought, I'm never, ever going to be able to see this show again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Before we all bought every season of Friends on DVD.
Now you can watch damn near whatever you want,
Yeah.
whenever you want, and people still complain.
Well, there were plenty of those shows that were like, half season fillers or something like that only lasted for 12 episodes and were only really going to be put on because they didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
And those shows are lost to us.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
So-
but every once in a while, one will show up weirdly on YouTube. That one you talked about a
Yeah.
few weeks back. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's a lot of TV that's never going to be shown again because they just destroyed the negatives
it
or
just-
reused the tapes or whatever the
Exactly.
situation
It just
was.
rotted away.
Yep.
And they didn't back it up. Yeah.
Okay, guys, should we take a little break? Before we go to break, I just want to say I saw the latest Wrong Turn 2021.
Oh God,
You guys can pass on that.
Oh, gotcha.
Written by the guy who wrote the original.
really?
And not a remake or a reimagining in any way. Not even the story you're used to.
Wow.
I was like, wow, okay. Let's take a break. We're coming back and we are talking cults.
Are you tired of taking your dog for a walk and picking up after their mess? Are you tired of using grocery bags or products that are heavy and not useful? It can get very messy when your pet goes in the house or on the sidewalk or even your neighbor's lawn. We have the answer for you. Introducing Poo Trap, an amazing new innovation that eliminates the need of picking up after your dog. Poo Trap is a unique new product that fits any size dog without any hassles, and your pets will love it too. It's easy to install on your dog and makes your walking experience fun. Walking your dog just got easier with a Poo Trap. No poops, no whoops. Poo Trap is available in 8 sizes and 3 colors. There are no substitutes. Poo Trap, the magic poop collector. Order yours today. Call 888-POO-TRAP. That's 888-766-8727. Call now or visit our website at www.pootrapusa.com. Order yours today.
We have returned. Vanessa, this was your choice this week. You want to start us off?
Absolutely. Well, I have to fess up. Part of the reason why I went with cults is because we've been talking a lot about Elizabeth Olsen as of recent times and her performance in WandaVision. And I was very much like, no, she's really good. She really is really good. I saw this film years ago before I had any idea who she was. And so I wanted to watch and talk about this film. So I chose the 2011 film, Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene.
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Martha?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm not sure. I'm upstate, I think.
Find out where you are and I will come get you.
I can't wait that long.
What's going on?
She's here now. She seems okay.
What did she say?
She had some boyfriend. They were living in the Catskills.
Is this Martha? Martha. You look like a Marcy May.
We've got a really nice place here.
It's as much yours as it is mine.
Where are we? Connecticut? Oh, how far are we?
From what?
Yesterday.
You mean from where I picked you up? About 3 hours. Why?
Do you ever have that feeling where you can't tell if something's a memory or if it's something you dreamed?
I don't blame you for not trusting people. If you're ever going to have a meaningful relationship, you need to let your guard down. We want to help you. Let us in.
What happened to you?
You're a teacher and a leader, Marcy. Now prove it. Shoot it.
They're living animals.
So shoot Max then. Go ahead.
I know who I am. I am a teacher and a leader. You just never let me be that.
I don't think she should stay with us anymore. We can't ignore the fact that her behavior is insane.
I'm her only family.
We have to leave. We all have to leave.
What happened? I don't know.
Never heard of this.
Yeah.
Really?
I remember you're mentioning it, but I think that's the first time I'd ever heard.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it definitely came out during this period of time in which like indie films were like popping up and they weren't like prevalent and, you know, they weren't mainstream yet, but people, there were plenty of them getting made. It's definitely on the heels of something like a Gus Van Sant style picture. Okay. So Rotten Tomatoes, 90% from critics. Not bad. 71% from audience.
Also not bad.
Yeah.
Budget was $600,000 and the gross was $4.7 million.
Wow.
It's 102 minutes long. It's directed and written by a guy named Sean Durkin. He has 5 directing credits total, even now, which is strange because in the last 9-10 years, he really should have done a bunch. But he did a short film. He did a mini series called South Cliff, and then another film that he wrote and produced called The Nest. He has been doing a little bit more producing. He's got 16 credits for that, but I haven't heard of any of the projects that he was working on. Starring Elizabeth Olsen, who has now been in 26 things. This was her second film part. And previously to the other film that she'd been in, she'd only done 2 Full House projects as, filler in human being for Michelle.
So nice.
So nice.
Such nice sisters.
Clearly had avoided the crap out of, Hollywood until a certain point. After she was in this, she's since gone on to be in, unfortunately, the Old Boy remake. She did, of course, as we all know her, show up in Captain America as Wanda Maximoff and then continued to be in the series. She's also, really unfortunately, in Godzilla as Elle Brody. I cannot stress enough how little they give her in that film and how bad her character is. At least written. That is not a good performance or character for her at all. She's done a lot of alternative style movies. So she did Ingrid Goes West, Wind River, Kodachrome, and 20 episodes of a TV show called Sorry for Your Loss. I don't know what that is. Also starring Sarah Paulson, who's been in 66 things. You might know her from American Horror Story. All of it. Or now, more recently, Nurse Ratched as Nurse Ratched. Also in this film, John Hawkes, who plays Patrick, kind of a cult leader, if you will, kind of Manson of the film. You may have seen him in any number of things. He's been in 136 projects. So you'll see him and be like, man, his face looks familiar. He was in 3 Billboards, Winter's Bone, Eastbound and Down, and a bunch of Deadwood. So,
nice.
Yes. His first role was in the 1984 Police Academy as driver of Teskey truck, uncredited. So, way to go. And then one other name I just want to throw out there. There's Hugh Dancy plays a husband character in this, and you will know him as Will Graham in Hannibal. So this film, it's definitely dear to my heart. So I'm going to be pretty loving towards it. But the plot is that Martha, a.k.a. Marcy May, is living in this sort of farm-styled cult. And after enduring a sort of typical day of labor and life in the commune where she's like, we see her washing up and you see a bunch of women like standing in a hallway waiting for the men to finish eating. And then they leave and then the women are allowed to eat. After going through this, the next morning, it's all quiet. Everyone's sleeping in the various places around the house. And she has a bag and she goes off into the woods. She is immediately chased by cult members who are like, Marcy May, where you going? Where are you going? And she's just booking it in the woods. Like she kind of slips into the woods and then she's just going. She manages to slip them by and ends up in a diner. Suddenly, one of the members of her family sits down next to her and says, all right, well, why are you here? She's like, well, I just want to go into town. He's like, I could have given you a ride into town. And she's like, well, okay, I'm here now. And he's like, okay, well, let's go in the truck. Let's go home. And she says, no. And he kind of looks at her and he's like, okay. And he kisses her in a way she does not want to be kissed and leaves. So there's obviously a lot of very intensive, pressurized cult behavior going on in this so far. She calls up her estranged sister to, I don't think she quite knows why she calls her initially, and then it finally kind of asks her to come and get her. Even on the phone with her sister, she's kind of like, I shouldn't be here. I need to go back. I shouldn't be here. But her sister does come and get her. And the rest of the film is her with her sister, who she has not talked to in 2 years, and her sister's husband, who's British for reasons, and kind of sussing out this sort of massive quantity of baggage between them, while at the same time doing a lot of these flashbacks to why she ended up in the cult, what she did in the cult, and how she ended up being as under their thumb as she was. She has not seen her sister, as I said, for 2 years. And it just makes it impossible for her to open up. Her sister's very micromanagey. Like in the first scene with them together, she comes out of the shower. Elizabeth Olsen's character, Martha, comes out of the shower and she's dripping wet. And her sister immediately walks over to her and starts drying her off. And she's like, "You're dripping everywhere." And it's just a lot of that. It's like, aren't you going to eat this food? Why aren't you dressing this way? Why don't we put this makeup on you? It's just a lot of constant, you can just feel this thing that's between them. It's really nicely portrayed. And you realize very quickly, like, you want her to open up. You want Martha to be like, "Yeah, I just ran away from a cult."
Right.
And instead, she's not. She just says, I got out of a thing with a bad boyfriend and now I'm here. And of course, that makes matters much, much worse, because the longer Martha is there, the more she starts to devolve. And also, she's so used to life in the cult and kind of became an adult. It was her really main years of learning who she is as a person. So she doesn't really know how things are meant to be. So she swims completely nude. She constantly wants to be around her sister and her sister's husband, to the point where she gets scared at night and goes down into their bedroom while they're having sex and just curls up at the foot of their bed and is like, "I'm here now." And they stop and freak out and like, "Why the fuck are you here?" And she was like, "Well, the bed's really big. You have room." So there's just a lot. She's clearly exhibiting behavior that she had before. She doesn't want to eat. And that's because in the cult, you're not allowed to eat until nighttime when you're the women. So it's just all these little things. But like I said, her sister is just crazy. She's really micromanaging her to the point where she's like, "You need to drink your tea in this certain way." And while Martha isn't outright objecting, she's clearly battling demons on two fronts. This entire film is seen through Martha's lens. So while it's flipping between memories of the cult and her adjusting to life with her sister, you have these really nice transition moments. So, for example, she'll be gardening with her sister and putting a plant into the ground, and her sister's like, "Wow, you're really good at gardening." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, no, I just did it a little bit." And then we cut to her gardening, of course, in the cult. So there's a lot of these really nice, smooth transitions between time periods. It might feel a little on the nose, but I think it works because I feel like we're in her brain. I feel like we understand everything through her perspective. And this kind of gaslighting and brainwashing that she undergoes from day one, we can see why that doesn't seem strange to her, and the things she needs and the things that cult is providing. So unfortunately, it does get crazy in the cult, of course. Sure. So it starts off as just a cool farming community, with some nice people, and she really wants to belong somewhere and not be rejected yet again by whatever in life. And then she's drugged and wakes up being sexed with by the cult leader. Yeah. And then she's sitting down in a room and a girl comes up to her and she says, "I know you're going to think that a bad thing happened to you, but it didn't. A good thing happened to you. We've all been through this together. It brings us together. It breaks down all your walls that you came in here with. It's a cleansing ritual, and now you're one of us." And it's like harrowing because you can see this constant kind of needling that these people are doing to not only convince her, but convince themselves that this is the right thing to do. And like I said, she does then become a part of it up until the point where she feels like it has gone too far. A very Manson style thing occurs. Some people are injured that are not part of the cult, perhaps, and she just can't get over it. And while she's having trouble getting past this event, everyone's really coming down on her about it and being like, you need to fucking get past this. Like, you can't have these walls while you're here. Like, we don't have permission. And they start to get much more aggressive with her. So she sort of becomes an outsider, and that allows her to break away from them. It's interesting because Martha at her sister's home becomes more and more paranoid that the cult has sent people to watch her and are going to kidnap her and take her away. And you think she's crazy. It feels like she's crazy. But there is a line where you're like, maybe she isn't crazy. Like, there's her sister and her sister's husband throw this party, and Martha sees the bartender and walks over to him. She's like, I know you. And there's he's like, oh, do you want like a drink or something? And she's like, that I used to drink that. And it was like her drink, which she gave up while she was at the cult. And he starts to pour her a drink, and she's like, why would you give that to me? I don't drink anymore. And just starts freaking out at him, yelling at him, throwing things at him, and telling him to, leave, and being afraid that something's, people are coming after her. And again, not telling her sister and this guy why she's freaking out. So they just think she's a nutcase, and they want to send her away. The film ends pretty abruptly. That's kind of the worst part about it, to be honest. It doesn't feel resolved. However, I think the journey is definitely the powerful part about this film. Just a couple of things that really gripped me in this. The pacing is incredibly well done. Also, I love the lens because it feels extremely non-judgmental. Like, you're not looking at a cult going, ooh, they're cult and they're bad or whatever. They don't tell you ever what they are. You just have to kind of figure it out and kind of figure out who's in charge and why they're doing what they're doing. It has this sort of... it gives this idea of the closeness and the community of the cult and why that matters to her. But then, of course, there's freaking rape and brainwashing. So, and how that develops so naturally is just really, it gives an intimate feel to this film. Everything about this film is very subtle. There's a lot of extreme close-ups on Elizabeth Olsen's face. And there's this one point where the cult leader who just assaulted her gets up in front of the group and sings a song just for her. And he's, he says, I call this Marcy May, which is the name he gives her. And she's smiling, and everyone's like, oh, he made you with a song. And, kind of, look, like, isn't that nice? And her smile just slowly across this song turns into not a frown, but just like a neutral, like, it's not okay. You can just tell through her little teeny tiny facial expressions that things are not okay. And you can really read into where she's at, which is why I think she's a good actress, because this film is really good. The tension is fucking crazy in this movie as well. You just are like, oh my God, somebody, for the love of God, talk about what's going on, or like deal with anything. The cinematography is super, super, super good. I won't say this film is for everybody. It's a slow burn. It's definitely a slow burn. It's an indie feel. It definitely, like I said, Gus Van Sant was making a lot of indie, of course, films during this time, and they're fucking exhausting to watch because you're just following somebody through their life with nothing happening for most of it. Maybe one thing happens in his films. It feels a part of that kind of genre of filmmaking. Trivia. I don't have a lot for you, but it was shot in 20 days. Sean Durkin, it's fast. Sean Durkin, the director, wanted an unknown actress to play the role of Martha. Elizabeth Olsen had to audition twice. And when she did land the role, filming began 2 weeks later. So she had very little time to prepare. Sean Durkin offered the role directly to Sarah Paulson, the sister, being a fan of hers from Studio 60. Sean Durkin had also made a short film previously called Mary Last Seen, and apparently it's considered a prequel. I didn't know about this until I started doing research, so I didn't get a chance to check it out. But it's kind of about a girl, like how you join a cult. And this film is about how you get out of a cult. The name of the character is Martha, which is her actual name. Marcy May, like I said, is her cult name. And then Marlene is the name of all the cult's women, what they have to use and call themselves when they answer the telephone in the house. It has a lot of similarities to the Manson cult. It clearly just, somebody studied the Mansons and went with it. Just the structure, the personality, the events feel very familiar. There are music references to Jackson C. Frank. I don't know who that is. Mary Lastine actually won Best Short Film at the 2010 Cannes Film Festival. Marcy, May, Marlene, which I will never for all of time remember what the title of this is. It was selected for Sundance and won U.S. Directing Award Best Drama, and it got into the 36th Toronto International Film Festival and then was given distribution by Fox Searchlight. It had a pretty limited release, and the film took inspiration from Margot at the Wedding, which is another incredible movie. That's my cult film. Would
you say this is... when you got into it, I was thinking, thriller, but it sounds more like drama.
It's almost like thriller, drama, horror, all this stuff in between. It's so subtle that it's hard to commit to a genre, frankly. I mean, you could just call it a drama, but there's so much suspense and then there's so many harrowing moments that it does have a lot of that thriller to it, but it's too slow to call a thriller. So
what about, you said that it kind of ends without resolving things. I don't need to know what happens, but do we find out if the cult is trying to get her back or not?
That's kind of the question, and that's the question mark we end on.
Okay.
Yeah. So so something is happening and we just aren't sure if it's a thing or not.
All right.
Yeah.
Wild.
So go check it out, people.
Yeah. I'll go next if you don't mind, Eric.
Sure.
All right. I was for sure that I was going to be taking Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 6 as my cult movie.
Where are you now?
Yeah. It's got Paul Rudd's first film role.
Yeah.
He's so young and baby-faced that I did not recognize him until about halfway through because I kept going, when does Paul Rudd come in? Even though he's the lead. It has a 9% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, I can make a case for this being a not too bad movie. You know, watching the director's cut, I thought there was a lot to really like in it. Yeah. We talked last week about remakes and how hard it is to make, or not remakes, but sequels, how hard it is to make a sequel to a movie like this because you're just making the same movie over and over.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one is like, the fuck we are. We're throwing in a cult, a town of that's an entire cult based on the demon that's inhabiting Michael Myers and all this shit. It got kind of cool. I was very disappointed to find out that this movie leads to nothing in the next sequel.
Oh.
So what I did instead, last week I did Bride of Chucky.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The fourth movie in the Child's Play series.
Oh my God.
And this week I took Cult of Chucky, the seventh movie in the Child's Play series.
I was 6. My babysitter was murdered.
And they never caught him?
Justice was done.
Wanna play?
Nika, the murders were real.
Chucky never was.
That's right. He was a fantasy, a delusion.
Are you feeling better now?
I don't blame you for being afraid. I was very ill.
Chucky told me. He's coming for you.
It's important that we all explore it together as a group. I think I have something that will help.
Whoa. Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
First, he'll kill each and every one of you in the most horrible ways you can imagine. And then he'll kill me too.
Come to mommy. Oh, come.
Are you afraid of the truth?
Terrified. You should be too.
Night-night. And they call me sick?
Wait a minute, there's two of them?
Kill us all!
A true classic never goes out of style.
Wow.
Oh my.
From 2017. Have either of you guys seen this?
Oh,
No.
yeah. Very curious to hear your take on
I've
this
only
one.
seen the first Chucky, so.
Could find no information on the budget. The box office had 2.2 million, which is interesting, and I'll get to that. Rotten Tomatoes critics, 79%.
Wow.
Audience, 46%.
Wow. That's weird.
Isn't
For a-
that weird for a horror film?
Chucky film, especially.
Written and directed by Don Mancini, who has written all of the Child's Play movies, and he
Go
also
Don.
directed Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky, which were the two movies before this, after Bride of Chucky. He wrote all of the Child Plays movies, and of course, he's written a couple of episodes of Hannibal and Channel Zero. It stars Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky.
Hey, look at
That's
that.
crazy.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Exorcist 3, Dune, Lord of the Rings, Deadwood, Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2, Eyes of Laura Mars.
Yep.
It also stars Fiona Dourif from Deadwood, True Blood, The Purge TV series, The Blacklist, The Stand, and she was, of course, produced by Brad Dourif.
Oh, she's his daughter?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And it stars Alex Vincent, who is now an adult and plays the same part he played in the very first Child's Play movie as the
gosh.
kid.
Wow.
He plays Andy. And so this opens with Andy is out on a date. And his date, this was obviously like a eHarmony or something
Totally,
like that.
Match.com.
Yeah, because she has looked up his past online and she's saying, some things that she's like concerned a little bit. And he says, I don't blame you. His line of dialogue is, I was 6 and my babysitter was murdered along with my teacher, my caseworker, and 36 other people over the years that I'm aware of.
How about another date?
And when she leaves early, he returns home and from a hidden safe in the wall removes the decapitated but still alive head of Chucky.
Oh my God.
From the last movie.
Oh my God.
It's all scarred up and burned and everything, and it's talking to him and kind of egging him on and telling him what a loser he is and all this stuff. And Andy pops out a blowtorch and starts slowly torturing
Wow.
Chucky.
What
And
great roomies.
I was like, what? Where is this movie going? This is amazing. Meanwhile, Nika from, I guess, the last movie, which I didn't see, she is Fiona Dourif. She was deemed insane and committed to an insane asylum after a trial for whatever happened in the last film. I think that her family was killed by Chucky, and it must have ended with it looking like she did it and Chucky going free.
Mm.
So she's speaking with her psychologist, Dr. Foley, who notes that
What a
Nika's
wonderful
made
sounding name.
a ton of progress in recognizing that she, not Chucky, killed her family. So she's now in a low security institute where she meets a bunch of inmates and they all do group therapy and everything. She's in a wheelchair. She was somehow crippled in the last movie. I don't know if it was a spinal injury or something like that, or perhaps she was wheelchair bound the entire movie. I don't know. But I kind of don't feel like these movies, you really need to, watch the entire thing to get the gist of what's going on. At group therapy, in one of the sessions, Dr. Foley brings out a good guy doll, which if you're not familiar, the good guy doll is the Chucky doll. Now, when Brad Dourif is in a Chucky doll, it looks much different than it looks when it's just the regular store-bought good guy doll. And she freaks out a bit. Where did you get that? And he's like, I got it from Hot Topic. And
did he really?
Yes. So
oh my God.
This is the kind of humor that these movies have in them. I really love it. So she's kind of shaken, but she's able to say in group therapy that the doll isn't real and everything. But later that day, Tiffany, who is Jennifer Tilly, she shows up to speak with Nika. Now, this is where it gets weird because Jennifer Tilly is not playing Tiffany from the movie. Jennifer Tilly is playing the actress Jennifer Tilly in this movie.
Oh my God.
That the Tiffany doll has possessed.
Oh. Wait.
Right?
Whoa.
And she comes to talk with Nika and then leaves her with another of the good guy dolls. So this is starting to get important because there are now 2 good guy dolls in this institute.
Okay.
There's also the severed head of Chucky that Andy is torturing. That night in the institute, one of the Chucky dolls, but we can't tell which one, comes to life, steals a scalpel, and it starts creeping down to Nika's room. And he enters the room and then sees a bunch of blood pooling on the floor. And he realizes that Nika ripped off one of the spokes of her wheelchair and slit her wrists out of guilt. She's dying and everything. She wakes up the next day and her arm is sewn up very badly. And in the pool of blood, Chucky has written, "Not so fast."
Oh my God.
So she wakes to this and then starts hearing screaming down the hall. So she rushes her way down there and sees that Chucky had slit one of the other patient's wrists with the wheelchair wire and killed her instead. So the rest of the movie now is her trying to prove that one of these Chucky dolls in the insane asylum is actually Chucky. That's ridiculous because everybody knows it can't be. And we all know it can't be because Chucky is just a head in a safe in Andy's house. But Andy then hears of the murders in the institute and he's like, wait a second, this is starting to sound familiar. He knows he's been following the trail of Chucky, knows that Nika is in this place and he smells a rat. He grabs another Chucky doll that he's had and he's given like this military buzz cut to. I think only so that we can recognize what Chucky doll is which. And he drives to the institution. On the way there, he receives a call from Tiffany, who is Jennifer Tilly. Who is taunting him. And she also then says that, she's there with the cult of Chucky and that there are 3 of them in this cult. Dr. Foley brings Nika into his office and he starts, I guess, what is a typical hypnosis session with her. And we find out that it is typical. And once she's hypnotized, it becomes clear that he's done this before and uses these opportunities to brainwash and rape her. So that's pleasant while she's in her wheelchair. And he's brainwashing her and telling her that she is responsible for the deaths of the 2 girls so far in the institute who have been killed by Chucky. So he starts making out with her as she's hypnotized, and from behind comes a Chucky and smashes a bottle over the head. And as he's lying there, Chucky admits that he doesn't know whether to kill Dr. Foley or commend him for being so twisted.
Oh, jeez.
And Chucky tries to convince Nika to kill Dr. Foley, but she doesn't. She refuses. When she finally comes out of the hypnosis, Dr. Foley claims that she attacked him. So, as the film is going on, we have all these multiple Chuckies going on, and they're all pointing at one or another to be possessed by the original serial killer, Brad Dourif's character, the Charlie Lee Ray. Andy, who was trying to get in to have a talk with Nika and try to figure out what's going on, he gets to the door, and the attendant's like, "I'm not letting you in here at all. You're not on a list. You're not a patient. You're nothing." And so Andy attacks the guy and gets himself committed.
Oh, great.
So that he can be in this place with him.
There you go.
He's also got that buzz cut Chucky that we know, right? The bad haircut Chucky. At one point, Chucky finally explains that he has learned a new voodoo spell that allows him to split his soul across multiple bodies. Chucky explains that he has successfully possessed Alice, which is one of the dead girls, and went on a killing spree in her body. one of the victims fought back and killed Alice. So that forced him back into the doll. Those two Chuckies then bring the third buzz cut Chucky to life with a new version of Brad Dourif in him.
Oh my
And the
God.
three of them kill an orderly that had accidentally walked in on them. Meanwhile,
Oh my God.
Tiffany has pulled up outside the institution where she slits a guard's throat because
Sure.
she's hot and distracting. And we see that she has the Tiffany doll from one of the movies in the backseat of her car. So at some point, one of the Chuckies successfully possesses Nika, and she gets out of her wheelchair and she stomps Dr. Foley's head in with her high heels. Very satisfying scene. But Andy rips open the stomach of the Chucky that he had smuggled in. That Chucky didn't realize that inside his own stomach was a gun.
Oh my God.
And
Wow.
so he turns around and he sees that Nika, possessed by Chucky, is standing in the doorway, and she starts taunting him, saying he doesn't have the guts to sacrifice Nika to kill him. And he immediately pulls the trigger on the gun. However, it's out of bullets.
What? Jeez.
So he does have the guts, which I love. I mean, he doesn't think twice. He just starts shooting, and but he has no bullets. So Nika beats him up, locks him into a padded cell, basically, and then throws in the bloody Chucky doll corpse in there with him. And we are left to assume that the police will pin all of this on Andy, as he's the only one left alive and has a gun and a bloody Chucky doll corpse. So Nika walks outside up to Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly's car. It's so weird because she's actually playing herself. And the two start to make out because Nika is, of course, possessed by Chucky and Jennifer Tilly is possessed by Tiffany. And so they start making out.
Oh my God.
They get into the car and start cracking up. And the Tiffany doll behind them also starts cracking up.
Oh my gosh.
Which we are then led to believe that Tiffany somehow has also split her soul between the doll and Jennifer Tilly. And the three of them drive off into the night as the police arrive. This has been the last movie so far, but I've never wanted a sequel to a movie as bad as I want one to this movie. This was just a blast to watch. A couple of funny things here. Remember that Brad Dourif was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. After talking to one of the patients, Chucky calls the asylum a cuckoo's nest, which I thought was funny and obvious.
Yeah.
When Nika first meets one of the guys at the mental hospital, she trades him a stick of juicy fruit chewing gum for a cigarette. And when he begins to chew, he says, juicy fruit, which is an obvious reference to the scene in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest when Murphy gives a stick of juicy fruit to Chief, and he says the same line.
Oh.
Chucky compares one of the other Chucky dolls to Hannibal Lecter, adding, can't believe they canceled that show, which writer-director Don Mancini wrote 2 episodes of. The ending where Nika becomes possessed by the soul of Charles Lee Ray is similar to the ending of the final story in the 1975 made-for-TV film Trilogy of Terror, where the main female protagonist becomes possessed by the spirit of the Zuni doll. And I think that almost all of these movies kind of owe a debt to Prey from Trilogy of Terror. And then, so get this. This is some crazy timeline. This movie was released 29 years after the original Child's Play, 27 years after Child's Play 2, 26 years after Child's Play 3, 19 years after Bride of Chucky, 13 years after Seed of Chucky, and 4 years after Curse of Chucky. So this is a series as it went on, started really spreading itself out in like 4 years, 5 years between sequels and stuff like that. Boy, I loved this movie. It's
like
super low budget, and that whole 2.2 million box office. I don't know exactly how they did this because I don't know if you remember, this was released directly to Netflix.
Yeah.
So it had some kind of mini theatrical run that did fairly well for them.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. Cult of Chucky.
Oh, very cool.
I liked it a little less, but I really liked what's his name? Alan, the lead guy
Andy.
coming back. Yeah, Andy playing. I thought that was great. I love the idea it was one of those that I'll go back and I'm probably going to watch it more because I watched it on the tail end of everybody saying, this is like the greatest Chucky movie ever made. This is so much better than the last three. I'm like, I watched it going, oh, because I really like Bride.
Right.
Bride's my favorite by far. I was like, I don't know, it's better than that. But I can guarantee you it's one I'll like more when I watch it again.
I have to say that I think I felt the same way the first time I watched it. And watching it this time, I have just really gained an appreciation for a sequel that tries to do something different.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I wonder why on earth they remade this movie. Because if they have like such a long-standing cult favorite standing with their fans, like why break that mold and try to make it a slightly crappier, most recent, just for money?
Yes,
just for money?
Just for
because
money.
that way they can pop it back into the theaters.
Exactly.
This is a big thing because Chucky's quite a ways away from having very successful theatrical runs.
Yeah.
So I heard it was a pretty decent remake. I haven't seen it.
It's not good.
Is
I've
it?
seen
Okay.
it.
I didn't think so either. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine that I didn't.
Aubrey
see it.
Plaza is not old enough to be that kid's mom. It's very weird. She doesn't act like it.
I think they made a mention or something where she was like,
she's like young.
yeah,
But it's
I was
just,
15 or something like that. It's a throwaway line.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm
It's
fine
just-
with that. She just was badly cast.
yeah, exactly. I think she was badly cast.
Well, we'll go much further back now into one of Kelly's favorite areas of movie making, 1972's All the Colors of the Dark.
Come. You're expected.
What did you make me do? What was
You cannot escape, Jane. You belong to us.
I'm almost certain that someone is after me. Someone from my past. From something that happened in my childhood.
I have heard of this movie and never seen it.
It's a Severin one I own, so I can loan that to you. But it's also available right now on Prime.
Oh, perfect.
A lot of Severin stuff after they're out for, they do in and out. They'll put stuff in and out on their online level areas. So this was, I could not find anything on the budget. There's no listing for it on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, it doesn't even list. I even tried to look it up in its original Italian name, and it just doesn't show up at all. So who knows? The box office, however, 294,470,000 lira.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this has got to be lira.
Yeah, $184,000. So it's a decently successful Italian in Italy. That's just in Italy. Directed by Sergio Martino, who you probably might not know from After the Condor, maybe After the Fall of New York, A Man Called Blade, and 66 other films he directed.
Wow.
So that's a working director.
Yeah. He was credited as story for this one. He was also story for Rest in Pieces and Under Siege. No. Not that one. But 4 movies in 1970, 10 movies in 1976.
10 movies in the year 1976?
That he wrote.
Boy.
With 60 writing credits.
Wow.
Never felt like a slacker so much as I do right now.
The other writer was Ernesto Gastaldi, who wrote Hands of Steel and Once Upon a Time in America, uncredited.
What?
And Torso. And I'm just going to list a bunch of really funny, because I love some Italian names. Your Vice is a locked room and only I have the key. The Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion.
Oh my God.
Another writer, Sergio Scafalani, The Cynic, The Rat, and the Fist. Anna, The Pleasure, The Torment. And the final writer is Louis Canali, who wrote the English version of the film, or translator, or whatever, but he did Argo Man, the Fantastic Superman.
I did that.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent.
Stars George Hilton, who was in The Masked Man Against the Pirates. Satan's here. Trade your pistol for a coffin.
Jesus.
And then also starring Edward Finch, who was in a 5-star challenge movie that I had from Tony, Strip Nude for Your Killer. The Inconsolable Widow, thanks all those who consoled her.
Wow, that's the title.
That's the title.
I mean, I don't feel like you even need to see the movie now.
That's right, yes. And Hostel Part 2.
Oh.
Let's see then. And finally, Ivan Razumov, who was in Don't Wait, Django, Shoot. And If You Want to Live, Shoot.
Is it a sequel?
Sure.
Theme.
And Vengeance is a dish best served cold. Which, all Star Trek fans will recognize as an important line.
Absolutely.
So the idea of this film, woman recovering from a car accident when she lost her unborn child, and besides herself, followed by a coven trying to capture her. The movie starts off right off the bat with a WTF kind of start, with a naked woman in stirrups, a older woman dressed up as a doll, and a woman on a bed. The woman on the bed is the lead, so she stays there. The rest just sort of die and never come back. So it's kind of implied it's a dream, which I'm just going to go with. But, the boyfriend in the movie is a combination of really supportive and a complete asshole. So he makes for some interesting moments. I'm still not totally convinced if he's a boyfriend or a husband either.
Were there rings?
Yeah, I don't remember. I wasn't sure. He recommends she sees a psychologist, and he is, of course, a 1970s psychologist, which means ridiculously intense. The shot of him talking to her is very weird because they're both facing forward, and he's in an over the shoulder behind her, kind of giving her this intense stare while she talks. She keeps running into, in her dreams and her real life, she keeps running into this guy with freakishly blue eyes, kind of a Meg Foster look.
Oh,
but they're contacts. These are definitely contacts, because for some reason, the first time they do a shot of the guy, it zooms in super, super close up, and you can see the original color of his eyes.
Oh, no.
Damn you, 4K.
Yeah, there you go. A solicitor, as they're called in Europe, the lawyer, calls her up demanding to see her for the next day. And as random as me saying this at that point is how random it was in the movie. What the hell is this guy, and what does he want? And you don't find out again for probably 40 plus minutes. Oh, I remember him.
He wanted to meet up.
There you go. For some reason, she's making bacon and eggs for her husband for dinner. She burns the shit out of him. And while she's airing the pan outside of the window, she sees the blue-eyed man. So she goes running down in the hall to try to confront her, and runs into her boyfriend. Holy shit, this is a cool-looking scene. The way it's shot, the stairwell, it has one of those elevators in the middle of the stairwell where the stairs are going around outside, and it just looks so cool. And she gets down there. Oh, wrong blue-eyed man. I feel like I'm 30 minutes in or so, and I don't know what is going on in this film, but it looks cool, and it moves at a cracker pace for the kind of film it is. Just crackerjack movement. She finds a friend, blonde lady. I don't know how they met. Tries to tell her what's going on, and the blonde lady says, "Hey, I can fix that for you. All I got to do is take part in the satanic ritual with me." And she immediately goes, "Sounds good." The blonde lady's like, "Maybe you should think about it a little bit." She's like, No, let's go. She really wants these dreams gone. Blue-eyed guy shows up again, attacking her this time. And damn it, what is with... the worst part about watching 70s Italian movies is they're another cute little dog and taken out in a ritual. It's not terribly violent, but the dog is horribly adorable. It's like, stop it. And, so there's the ritual killing of the dog, followed by the ritual sexual assault. And, oh no, it didn't take, so the blue-eyed guy is still showing up.
Oh my God.
She gets home and finds a satanic ritual book on her boyfriend's desk. Is he involved? I still am not entirely certain.
That's for you to decide.
That's right. And so she goes back for another ritual and finds out in order to actually be cleansed, she has to kill the blonde woman that brought her into the cult.
Does the blonde girl know this?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Commitment to your cult.
That's right. And so she kills the blonde girl and gets sexually assaulted again.
Awesome.
And now it seems like the blue-eyed guy might be helping her. Is it because she's part of the cult? Probably. So she now seems like she's free, but then she figures out if she ever wants to leave the cult, well, she now knows how she gets to leave.
Oh, just has to recruit somebody.
That's right. And weird note here, because the boyfriend goes someplace and leaves a note for her, which is on a mirror on the wall written in lipstick. I'm like, what the hell leaves a note like that says, I'll see you tonight? Like, Jesus.
Big heart. XOXO.
But now she notices she has a tattoo of the cult symbol has grown on her arm. And I tell you, all through this whole movie, this symbol looks like crap. It is such a poorly drawn symbol, but it's consistent. So the house that the cult lives in is friggin' gorgeous. Huge, giant, but then she goes from room to room and finds like this weird room with 2 dead people in it that look like they're having dinner, and violence ensues. It's very bizarre. And I'll just wrap up by saying the last 20 minutes are pretty strange.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is an awesome movie.
It sounds insane. Also, that cult has a hell of a lot of fine print.
Yes.
Like, you really need to, it's worse than like activating an iPhone. Like, Jesus. Is the Constitution in that? Do you have to like resurrect George Washington to like get out of this cult?
Well, per usual in the Giallo style, sort of Giallo, sort of Satan thing, story and plot line tend to be either really intense or really sort of not that important. This one definitely leans towards the latter.
Yes.
the plotting
sounded
is
like it.
Very simple. It's got a lot of that breathy acting that you also get, especially if it's the lead woman. I don't know how the person who dubbed it had to sound like that.
Right.
Though it's done well. You can tell it was shot in English, when they like mouth the words, but it's definitely dubbed. It's got a really strong pace. I said earlier, it moves at a really good pace, especially for a film from 1972. You guys familiar with the movie The Love Witch, or at least like the poster, the images of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I swear the director watched this movie and said, my lead needs to look exactly like this woman.
Oh, interesting.
Because I looked up the actress to see how much she looked like the woman in this, and she doesn't too much, but in The Love Witch, the way they did her makeup and hair, she looks just like her.
Weird. I mean, it makes sense because it feels like they're stealing from that kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Director's era is definitely this film, and it's obvious that Rosemary's Baby has already been out,
right?
And has a lot of influence in the apartment she's in, the way it moves. There's even some of that. It's sort of, Giallo meets a satanic club, but there's no black gloves. One thing I like about Giallo that kind of reminds me of film noir in a weird way, and that the best part for me of film noir is the amazing language they're allowed to speak. The way you can talk in a film noir, even nowadays, like Brick's not that new, but Brick is one of the more recent versions, where it's just this insanely over-the-top stylized dialogue that you're just not allowed to do because it doesn't sound realistic anymore. Giallo's like that to me too, where there's like green neon in scenes that there's no reference for where all this incredible green neon is suddenly coming from. It's usually in the lighting, but you just don't, unless somebody says, well, I'm doing an homage to a Giallo, nobody dares shoot this kind of stuff on a larger budget anymore, and it just looks so cool. There is a commentary from Kat Ellinger, who's authored All the Colors of Sergio Martino, and I listened to a little bit of it, but it's definitely more talking about the director. She's like, I'm going to sell you on how cool this director is, and I want to sell you hard. And it's a pretty good sales pitch. So I was like, I want to go back and listen to a little bit more, and I definitely want to see some more of this guy's films, because he did all kinds of films. He didn't just do Giallo. He did practically any genre you can think of.
Wow.
Of course, you do 66 films, you're going to cross.
Boy, no kidding. Tell me, this will decide whether I watch this film or not. Is there? Is it just the cult, or do we feel like there might be something behind the cult? Is there Satan, or is this just a bunch of wackos?
It's hard to say, honestly. I mean, it's got her dream segments add a unrealistic feeling to it. I mean, not like it's a bad movie, but fake reality to that. But there's not like Satan doesn't pop up and say howdy or anything like that.
Right. I just didn't know if there was like something clearly unexplainable has happened after this.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in.
Cool.
Good topic choice, Vanessa.
I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, I was really excited to approach this one. This one has so much in it.
Well, I feel like this is also something we can do a part 2 and
I
part
think
3
so.
on,
Yeah, I think we have to return.
I had
to
a
this
list
eventually.
of at least 5 films. I'm going, I could talk about any of these movies.
Exactly.
Right. I was afraid it was going to be 3 satanic cult type. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Look
Sorry,
over
guys.
there. Fuck. But instead, only Eric shit the bed on this one.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's satanic.
That's
cult.
right.
It's hard to know.
That's right.
So
we
Italian.
definitely need to do part 2 so I can pitch you my Halloween 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to do like Lord of Illusions was one I was really looking at doing because I've never talked in depth about that one, and I really like that film.
Right, and we had spoken earlier about 1BR and what an incredibly uncomfortable and realistic seeming cult movie.
Have you seen that
was.
one yet?
I haven't.
It's a good one. It's
Yeah,
really good.
I've kept flipping past it in my queue, and
For some reason, tonally, it reminds me a lot of The Invitation, if that helps you want to watch it more.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and I was going to say, like, I was a little sad I used The Invitation up before this one.
You still got to talk about your movie. What do you care?
I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on. You
I like things to be orderly. I like them to be under the right banner.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of orderly, that means it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm going to throw a curveball at you guys this time. I want you to exercise your Second Amendment right on film. All action, all guns. It doesn't have to be all guns, but
I'm excited about the action part.
yeah, but it's got to have guns. I don't want no kung fu movie in here.
Can I enjoy a gun movie but not endorse anyone ever using a gun?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Movies
All
are
right.
fantasy. Way too many people take movies way too goddamn seriously. Movies are fantasy.
Yes. I was gonna
You
say,
are not Rambo.
yeah, please don't.
Just let me tell you.
Go and teach. If you're gonna own a gun, maybe learn how to use it ever and how to do it safely.
I'll take that under consideration. Okay, so that's what we're doing next week, as usual. Many thanks to everybody. Anybody we need to throw a special thanks out to besides all the regular people constantly
You're all
helping
so
us?
fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, people.
We see a lot of you on Facebook. I'd like to see more of you.
Oh,
Please come find us on Twitter and Instagram as well.
it's not enough to just beg for
this.
5 stars. You got to ask for.
I didn't ask for a 5-star, but hey, if you guys want to give us a 5-star rating,
Oh my God.
I will watch a movie. And we do have more music that we have not played yet.
Yeah,
for the
yeah. We have
5-star
5-star
music.
intro music. Yeah. So let's make that happen. I will. I'll stop leaving the 1-star reviews.
Nice try. We only have 1 2-star review. We have no 1-star reviews.
It's coming.
If you want to leave a 1-star review, leave a reason, please. That's the best part.
Right.
We want to know.
And a
We're
name.
gluttons for punishment and an address and maybe like a blood type.
Oh my.
Got weird.
Sorry, I'm a
Escalated.
little tired. I'm a little punchy, guys. I did not mean that.
I think we all are. So let's end this.
Yes.
We'll be back in 1 week and we're talking action.
Not words.
Pew 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 pew.
Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Margaret. Our theme music is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Aeons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts